Are you alright? I suppose Rich is in your mirror. You look good.
You look good.
4 men have been jailed after admitting, planning and committing burglaries across Yorkshire. The prosecutions follow an investigation by Wakefield District Crime Team who were able to link the group to burglary offences in a number of towns and cities, including Doncaster, Huddersfield, Barnsley, Hemsworth, Pontefract, Goole, Woolley Emley and Kirkburton. These men appeared at Leeds Crown Court the other day for sentencing after pleading guilty on the first day of a scheduled trial to conspiracy to commit burglary encompassing 21 burglary offences committed between 4th of February and the 5th of March. So the sentencings are as follow. You got Diaz Watson Frederick, who's 18, was sentenced to 6 years and 8 months in jail. Kyle Snowball, who's 25, was sentenced to 7 years and 7 months. Connor Lee Walker, who's 25, was jailed for 8 years and 9 months. And Billy Dennis Wright, who's 20, was jailed for 4 years and 11 months. Wright, Watson and Snowball were members of a Snapchat group called the A-Team. Whilst Walker wasn't a member of that group chat, he was referenced within the group on several occasions. Conversations in the chat included references to police cars and chases, changing vehicle registration plates, police activity in the area, selling stolen vehicles and jewellery, and planning of offences throughout Yorkshire. On the 21st of February, a white Kia Sportage and an Audi was stolen in a burglary in the Doncaster area. The Kia was subsequently used to commit further offences, and on the 4th of March, a police pursuit was authorised after the vehicle was seen leaving the scene of a burglary in the Woolley area of Wakefield. All 4 defendants were in the Kia during the pursuit and were subsequently arrested. Jewellery, which had been stolen in a burglary in Huddersfield, was also found in the vehicle. Detective Sergeant Lewis Hibbert of the Wakefield District Crime Team said, "These men have been responsible for burglaries across Yorkshire, stealing jewellery and vehicles valued at over £150,000. These were not spontaneous offences, they were organised by the group beforehand. They have bragged about their plans and show little thought for the people whose properties they have targeted. House burglary is literally an invasion of a person's home and another concern it causes in our communities, and I hope that residents are reassured by the positive action that has been taken with these men now in prison for their horrible crimes."
Heck, is it lit? 1 Rolex. 3. 4. Any good to you? 71 plate. S4. Lovely. Fresh as you get them, son. Oh, nice little fucking Skoda.
35-year-old man has been sentenced to more than 17 years in prison following the murder of Ian Jupe in Southampton in May of this year. Tom Alexander Ellison from Southampton appeared at Southampton Crown Court for sentencing, having been found guilty of 58-year-old Ian's murder by a jury at the same court yesterday. He denied intentionally killing Ian, who was found deceased in his home, however did admit that he had intended to cause him harm. The court heard how Ian was last seen alive on the evening of Monday the 27th of May and was located dead inside his flat by a friend on the Tuesday morning. Police were called to the scene and deemed the circumstances of Ian's death to be suspicious, launching a murder investigation. A Home Office post-mortem found that Ian had died as a result of compression to the neck, and following police inquiries, Ellison was arrested on suspicion of murder. During the trial, prosecutor Charles Rowe KC told the court how Ellison had entered Ian's flat shortly before 7:20 in the morning and murdered him before stealing his post office card, which he used a short time later to withdraw £480 and 10 pence. He then returned to Ian's flat and made calls to his phone in an attempt to cover up what he had done. Today's hearing, Ellison was sentenced to a total of 17 years and 194 days in prison. After sentencing, Detective Chief Inspector Matthew Giluli, the senior investigating officer for the case, said, "We are pleased with the jury's verdict on today's sentence and would like to thank all those involved in this investigation. We have worked tirelessly to hold the person responsible for Ian's death accountable for his actions. We believe that the guilty verdict and sentence today reflects this. I hope that today's result brings some level of closure to Ian's family, as they now know that the person responsible for his death has been brought to justice. Our thoughts remain with Ian's friends, family, and all those that knew him. May he rest in peace. And in this next news story, a 21-year-old man is going to be spending nearly 30 years in prison after he pleaded guilty to attempted murder. Daniel McIntosh of West Drayton was also given an indefinite restraining order in relation to the victim, a man in his 60s whom he tried to decapitate. McIntosh previously admitted to 1 count each of attempted murder and possession of a bladed article in a public place in a hearing on August the 30th in the same court. On the 23rd of July this year, the victim offered McIntosh some work at his property. As the work would take 2 days, he offered the 21-year-old a room to stay for the night to prevent him having to travel home. After the man in his 60s had made dinner and went to bed, he woke up at around 11:30 to a sharp stabbing pain in his neck. He was covered in blood. He woke to see McIntosh standing at the end of his bed, holding a bread knife. The perpetrator then fled the address and discarded the knife outside a nearby property before he knocked on several houses, claiming he was being chased by people with a knife who were trying to rob him. A member of the public allowed him in their house and the police were called. McIntosh was swiftly arrested and was charged the following day. The victim suffered significant neck injuries and remained in hospital for a few days to undergo surgery to repair the damage caused in the attack. As I said, he was sentenced to 26 years behind bars. Senior Investigating Officer Detective Inspector Dominique Muldoon said this was a completely unprovoked attack on a vulnerable victim who had displayed nothing but kindness towards Daniel McIntosh in the short time he had spent with him. He said, "I am pleased that McIntosh has been given an extended sentence for 26 years. The length of this sentence reflects the seriousness and dangerousness of his actions." He said, "McIntosh is a very dangerous individual and clearly intended to kill the victim by attempting to decapitate him with the victim's own bread knife. He was only stopped by the victim awakening from his sleep to feel a sharp pain and warm blood trickling down his neck." So our victim is incredibly lucky that he had awoken before one of his main arteries had been cut, from which death would have been the inevitable outcome. Thankfully, instances such as this are extremely rare, and I would like to praise the bravery of the victim, who has shown tremendous courage throughout this case. So I would also like to recognise the incredible work of the investigation team and CPS, for which the result would have not been possible. It is important that the public helps us in our fight against serious violence and knife crime, and by reporting this to us, you could help save a life. So guys, there's a number of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. Once again, if you already haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. Please give this video a like and drop a comment below. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.